always try to take it from you, always.
Hello, and welcome to R&R Reviews, Unscripted. Today, me and my brother Nick are going to take some time to just break down the thought process and the reasoning behind our most recent reviews.
Alert. If you have not seen the movie Vice, there might be content following that you might find spoiling. But let's be honest, this is all documented history. As you'll see on our Facebook page, R&R Reviews, we gave Vice a 6.7 out of 10 points.
So as stated in the past, a 4 is considered a passable, watchable film. So this movie nearly ranks up in the 7s. That's a pretty high score for most of our reviewed films, meaning that we felt pretty highly about Vice, if we're being honest. So Vice is a very interesting biopic. Adam McKay has a very particular tone that he puts to his movies, very similar to the way that I felt The Big Short was, documenting history, but giving it in a tone that's comedic and also simplifies things so that even us on the outside have a better understanding.
Adam McKay has a very interesting way of doing his storytelling. He can take the most complex stories that are just basic history and break them down in a way that we all find entertaining.
And he does this so well in Vice. He has a way of fabricating scenes with very intense content or political content and doing it in a sarcastic manner that makes you laugh and makes you think twice about what's going on in the story. This film is documented history, so the things that are taking place will make you mad at points, and at other points, it's like it's answering pieces to history that you knew nothing about. They go in to talk about, obviously, 9/11 and Afghanistan and the war in Iraq and the terrorist organization ISIS and how it began. It begins to point blame back onto us and showing what Dick Cheney was able to do as probably one of the most powerful vice presidents in history.
And what really makes this film interesting is that you probably know some of the details of this story already, but this movie gets down into the nitty-gritty details that you've never heard about and kind of explains to you more of why things happen the way they happen.
Yes, exactly. It gets behind the scenes and shows you what you didn't see up front. We knew that Dick Cheney was there, but we did not realize the level of his involvement in the decisions being made, and even more, the level of involvement in the decisions that he influenced, be it for political gain or financial gain. There was a lot of things that were very questionable going on in our politics at this time.
So with a film like this that's based off a nonfiction story, it doesn't take a whole lot to be able to successfully tell this story and have a great film. This film doesn't need to be enhanced by special effects or CGI or a big loud booming score. Something like what this film needs to be successful is an incredible cast, and 100% this film nailed that with every single person that was in the film, every single side character. I mean, everybody was great and as well interesting, and you wanted to see more of all these people.
Yes, from Amy Adams to Tyler Perry to Steve Carell to Sam Rockwell and of course the amazing Christian Bale. They give performances that are like none other, and some of them are nearly unrecognizable. Also, don't forget that not only does Adam McKay direct these stories, but he writes these screenplays also, showing that he is more than just simply a director or simply a writer, that he is the full-scale talent behind these works. As always, Christian Bale gives a performance that is just altering. He constantly alters his physical features, his weight, everything about him to where you nearly can't even tell that it's Christian Bale.
His voice, even in this film, sounds entirely different.
Or even the way he moves his mouth. There's just such a draw to it. I mean, he literally keeps the movie going because in every scene you just are in awe of watching him play this character.
If you weren't told throughout this film that was Christian Bale, you would have no idea that it was him.
He is one of the most persuasive actors of our time.
Steve Carell also shows again as well that he is just more than a comedic actor.
Yes, he gives a very strategic and dramatic presence here, playing the infamous Donald Rumsfeld in this film and giving a shocking performance again, as Steve Carell has been known to do this before in films like Foxcatcher and The Big Short, where he worked with Adam McKay before. Also, Christian Bale working with Adam McKay in that film too. I do think we need to give credit to Sam Rockwell, even though his character, being George W. Bush, plays what seems like more of a minor role in this film. He was still great and convincing, and honestly looked very different. The way that he held himself and his mannerisms were quite the spectacle to see.
Right. We've seen many interpretations of George Bush over the years, but Sam Rockwell kind of comes, out of a place that you wouldn't expect it to come, and all in all, he plays a good George W. Bush.
This film does come off with a very liberal point of view, but it comes off honest and true, and we can't ignore the facts of what it says. My favorite part has to probably be at the very, very end when Christian Bale's Dick Cheney finally looks at the camera and basically begins to tell you that this is what we asked for, that we voted for this, that we put this in place and in motion. It's truly amazing to see the way our government and politics has changed since that setup in the early 2000s.
All in all, we find this film very interesting. We think it is well educating on the subject of Dick Cheney's vice presidency and his life. And we find that Adam McKay shows yet again that he is much more than a comedy writer. From someone that made films like Talladega Nights,
Help me, Jesus! Help me, Jewish God! Help me, Allah! Ah! Help me, Tom Cruise!
Step Brothers,
Because I know Cops doesn't start till 4.
and The Other Guys.
America!
Adam McKay certainly makes a big splash with this Oscar-nominated film. Alright guys, well that's all the time we have today. Be sure to hit us up on our Facebook page, R&R Reviews, or on YouTube with the same name.
And don't forget to send us your opinions and maybe some films that you would like us to review at our email, rogerscinemahood@gmail.com. That's ROGERSCINEMAHOOD@gmail.com. We'll see you next time, guys.
It's a beautiful day in the cinema hood.
I'm a fire! It's all right, you're not on fire! I knew it, you're lying! I'm burned! There is no fire!